June 6, 1944. Today, the largest amphibious invasion in human history. Tens of thousands of Allied soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy under relentless fire. But what if I told you, D-Day wasn't just about the beaches? Behind the chaos of Omaha and Utah lay another battlefield, hidden, silent, and deadly. A mission deep inside enemy territory, where American paratroopers dropped into the night, surrounded by confusion, fighting to secure bridges and crossroads that would decide the fate of the entire invasion. These were the men of the 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions, sent ahead of the main invasion under Operation Neptune, part of the grand plan Operation Overlord. Their task was simple, yet almost impossible: capture and destroy key bridges, cut off German reinforcements, and hold the line until the beach forces arrived. In this video, we're going beyond the beaches to uncover the real bridge battle of D-Day, and how American paratroopers turned disaster into salvation. This is the story of D-Day's true heroes behind the front lines, and the moment America saved the invasion. Before we begin, if you love deep military history and true battlefield stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, because what you're about to hear will change how you see D-Day forever. By early 1944, the world was waiting for one thing: the return to Europe. After years of brutal fighting in North Africa and Italy, the Allies were finally ready to open the Western Front, to strike directly at Hitler's fortress Europe. The objective was clear: invade France, liberate Europe, and crush Nazi Germany from within. But there was a problem, a massive one. Stretching along the French coastline stood the Atlantic Wall, a 2,400-mile system of fortifications, concrete bunkers, artillery, mines, and machine gun nests built to repel any Allied invasion. A direct assault would be suicide, unless the Germans could be confused, distracted, and divided. That's where the airborne forces came in. 2 American divisions would drop hours before the main landings: the 82nd Airborne and the legendary 101st Screaming Eagles. Their mission: to secure the flanks of the landing zones and prevent German reinforcements from crushing the troops coming ashore. The plan was daring, even reckless. The 82nd Airborne would drop west of Utah Beach, near the Murderate River, to seize and hold vital bridges like Fière, ensuring that the Germans couldn't counterattack the beaches from behind. Meanwhile, the 101st Airborne would jump closer to the coast, to destroy bridges over the Douve River, block enemy routes, and open the roads leading inland from Utah Beach. Together, they would form a defensive wall behind enemy lines, protecting the invasion force before the first wave even touched the sand. But no matter how precise the plan was, once those paratroopers jumped into the dark, cloudy night over Normandy, nothing went as expected. In the early hours of June 6, 1944, before the sun rose over Normandy, hundreds of C-47 transport planes crossed the French coastline. Inside were over 13,000 American paratroopers, young men carrying more than 40 kilograms of gear, jumping into darkness, anti-aircraft fire, and chaos. The plan called for precision. The reality was chaos. Bad weather, poor visibility, and fierce German flak turned the sky into a storm of fire. Many pilots missed their drop zones completely. When the first paratroopers hit the ground, they were scattered miles apart, lost, isolated, surrounded by enemy forces. Entire units disappeared into the hedgerows and flooded fields of Normandy. Some soldiers drowned in the swamps. Others landed directly on German positions and were killed before even cutting their parachutes. But those who survived didn't wait for orders. They improvised, gathered whoever they could find, and moved toward their objectives. At the Murderate River, the 82nd Airborne Division fought one of the most desperate and decisive battles of D-Day. the struggle for Fière Bridge. That small stone bridge became one of the most critical points in the entire invasion. German forces counterattacked again and again, trying to retake it and drive the Americans back into the sea. For 3 days, small groups of paratroopers, many without heavy weapons or ammunition, held the bridge against tanks and infantry. Their defense ensured that reinforcements from Utah Beach could push inland instead of being trapped on the coast. Meanwhile, to the southeast, the 101st Airborne Division fought through the flooded plains near the Douve River. Their mission was to destroy or secure key bridges and crossroads, especially near Corentin, to block the Germans from reinforcing their troops along the beaches. Despite being scattered, the 101st managed to seize several critical bridges and clear the routes leading from Utah Beach, while American paratroopers struggled in darkness. British airborne units to the east captured another key structure, Pegasus Bridge, securing the left flank of the invasion. Together, these missions formed a network of control points that kept German forces from regrouping and launching coordinated counterattacks. By dawn, the paratroopers' situation was still chaotic. Many were fighting in small groups, often unaware of the larger picture. But their courage and improvisation turned confusion into strength. They created the illusion of a much larger force behind German lines, spreading panic through the enemy's ranks. Though the cost was heavy, hundreds killed or missing, their actions had a massive impact. The German reinforcements that were supposed to attack the beaches never arrived on time. The airborne soldiers, through sheer determination and sacrifice, bought the time and space needed for the invasion to survive. As dawn broke over the beaches of Normandy, the scale of Operation Overlord came into focus. More than 5,000 ships carried over 150,000 Allied troops toward the French coast. For the Americans, 2 names would be forever etched into history: Utah and Omaha. At Utah Beach, the landings began with confusion. Strong tides and navigation errors pushed the troops nearly 2 kilometers south of their intended position. But what could have been a disaster turned into an unexpected advantage. Because the 101st Airborne had already captured and destroyed the key bridges over the Douve River, the German defenders in that sector were isolated and disorganized. When General Theodore Roosevelt Jr. famously said, "We'll start the war from right here," he wasn't exaggerating. Within hours, the troops from Utah linked up with airborne units inland and advanced faster than any other Allied sector. Utah would become the most successful and least costly of all D-Day landings. But only a few miles to the east, Omaha Beach told a very different story. Here, the Americans faced the 352nd German Infantry Division, one of the most experienced and well-fortified units in the region. The first waves were cut down almost instantly by machine gun fire, mortar, and artillery from the cliffs above. Tanks sank before reaching the shore, communication broke down, and chaos ruled. By mid-morning, the beach was littered with wounded men and burning vehicles. Yet, amidst the carnage, small groups of soldiers began to move. Junior officers and NCOs, many taking command after their leaders fell, rallied their men and attacked the cliffs directly. They used destroyed tanks for cover, grenades to clear bunkers, and sheer determination to claw their way off the beach. Naval gunfire from offshore destroyers began hitting German strongpoints at point-blank range, blasting open paths for the infantry. By the afternoon of June 6th, the impossible had happened. Omaha Beach was secured. The cost was enormous, over 2,400 American casualties in a single day, but the line had held. The beachhead was established, and the Allied invasion could continue. In the chaos of D-Day, it was not the grand strategy alone that saved the invasion. It was the courage of small groups of men, paratroopers holding bridges miles inland, infantry climbing cliffs under fire, and sailors turning their guns toward the shore to protect them. Day was supposed to be a single day of victory, but for those who fought there, it was a day of survival. By the end of June 6, 1944, the Allies had secured a fragile foothold in Normandy. Behind them lay the beaches, scarred, burning, soaked with blood. Ahead stretched miles of hedgerows, towns, and German resistance that would fight for every inch of France. But D-Day had succeeded. Not because everything went according to plan, in fact, almost nothing did, but because of the courage, improvisation, and relentless determination of ordinary soldiers, the American paratroopers who jumped into chaos and held the bridges, the infantrymen who turned disaster into victory on Omaha Beach, the sailors and pilots who refused to retreat. Together, they achieved the impossible. D-Day wasn't just a military operation. It was a test of will, unity, and sacrifice. The invasion succeeded because thousands of individuals, scattered and surrounded, refused to give up. Their actions remind us that in war, as in life, success is rarely perfect. But it belongs to those who adapt, endure, and keep moving forward. Nearly 4,400 Allied soldiers died on that single day. Their sacrifice turned the tide of World War II and gave Europe a chance to be free again. And for that, the name D-Day will forever stand as a symbol of courage against impossible odds. The story of D-Day is more than history. It's a reminder of human resilience, sacrifice, and unity. From the dark skies above Normandy to the sands of Omaha and Utah, ordinary men achieved something extraordinary. If this video helped you see D-Day from a new perspective, beyond the beaches, into the chaos and courage of those who fought behind enemy lines, consider giving it a like, sharing it with a friend who loves history, and subscribing to the channel for more deep dive documentaries like this one. What moment of D-Day do you think was the true turning point? The paratroopers stand at Fière Bridge, or the breakthrough at Omaha Beach? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your view. Thank you for watching. And remember, history isn't just about dates and battles. It's about people, their choices, their courage, and their legacy. See you in the next episode.